Before, as I told you in the previous classes also, in entire module 1, rectifier is very important, and some mathematical analysis is there regarding this rectifier. So to better understand those mathematical analysis, where I'm discussing these rectifier basics. These are the contents I'm going to discuss. As some of us are also previously asked the diode equivalent models, sir, we have still have some doubts. If you have still doubts regarding the diode equivalent models, so I'm going to discuss that here. What diode equivalent model is needed for us when understanding the rectifier circuits. So these are the contents. Classification of rectifiers, we will see rectifier analysis parameters and step down transformer operation, how it will work, and notations used in the rectifier, especially these notations. The thing is, the main important thing in the rectifier understanding is mathematical analysis. So different authors, different textbooks, different videos will use their own notations, their own approaches. So whatever the notations I am using, that notations also I will discuss here. So that common notations we will use when I am discussing the half-wave rectifier, center tap full wave rectifier, and bridge full wave rectifier. So I just want to this, I can say whatever this basic video is make you familiar with all the concepts regarding the rectifiers. So here this is the block diagram. This is the block diagram of DC power supply. As you know, any of the electronic component or electronic device or electronic gadget will only operate with a DC power supply. Will only operate with a DC power supply. But the sources for the DC power supply are battery. But the battery is, if you over the time the battery will drain and you need to replace with a new battery if you want a DC power supply. So this is cost consuming. To avoid this, we will go for some alternative mechanism. In our home already AC power supply is available. So if you have a electronic uh, device, we have electronic device which will convert AC power to DC power. So this is that device. This block diagram will convert the AC power supply to DC power supply. So we will see each element in this block diagram one by one. The AC power supply, I am assuming just 220 volts 50 hertz. Generally it is 230 volts 50 hertz also, but we'll fix to one value. Let us say that input AC supply is 220 volts 50 hertz. So if this is applied to the input of a transformer, as you know, transformer will have primary winding and secondary winding. I will apply my AC supply 220 volts 50 hertz to input of a transformer, and transformer will, as this transformer is step down transformer we are using, so 220 volts 50 hertz will be converted to 22 volts 50 hertz. That is, anyhow the output of the step down transformer is 22 volts AC only. So this will apply as input to the rectifier. What rectifier will do? Rectifier will convert AC signal to pulsating DC. Please note, pulsating DC here means that is the output of the rectifier. So you just observe, this is the rectifier output. Whatever you are showing here is the full wave rectifier output. So you just observe the output waveform. This waveform is having again some wave, some sinusoidal in nature. But what we want is, we want a DC signal like this, constant straight line like this. So we are in the conversion process of converting AC signal to DC signal. So rectifier output is like this. So means the rectifier is not a pure DC. It is having some AC components. That AC components only we are calling it as ripples. Ripples means if any output wave having some shape, any output wave having some shape like this, then that output wave we are calling it as having some ripples or AC components, any one. If you are following any of the videos, we are telling ripples, AC components, both are same only. Only thing is, ripples means it is having some wave shape like this. So To further remove these AC components, I will apply the rectifier output to the filter. So filter will further try to remove the some of the AC components, but you just observe the filter output. You just observe the filter output. Filter output, still there are some AC components still present, but compared to the input of the filter, at the output there are considerably some less number of AC components are present. So to further remove the AC components from the filter output, you will apply the filter output to the regulator. What regulator actually do is, regulator means the output of the regulator is constant even though any fluctuations at the input. Even though if there is a fluctuations there at the input of the regulator, the output is maintained constant like this. The output is maintained constant like this. So these are the four blocks of your DC power supply. If you take the practical example, your mobile phone adapter will have all these four blocks inside it. Your adapter output is this V out. This V out is the your mobile phone adapter's output. So that adapter you will connect to your mobile phone, right? So your mobile phone is the load here. So your adapter output is, that is plus 5 volts DC, constant plus 5 volts DC, that you will connect it to your mobile phone. So the problem of battery cost will eliminate here, so that we will get abundant source of abundant DC source we will get with the help of this DC power supply block. Okay, so some of the filters we are going to discuss in the module 1 is capacitive filter, and some of the regulators, I can say voltage regulators, we are using in this module 1 are Zener voltage regulator and 3-pin IC regulator. These are the things we are, in coming classes we are all discussing about all these things. So as I told you previously, in the diode equivalent circuits, whatever we need to understand the rectifier, that I am again discussing now. You just see ideal diode here. I am talking about, this is the, you know already, PN junction diode. This is the symbol of the PN junction diode. Ideal diode I am talking about. Ideal diode means with the characteristics are ideal. The practical diode tries to achieve this ideal diode characteristics, but the ideal diode is not possible to implement anywhere. Only for the practical diode there is some reference. That reference is the ideal diode characteristics. So it is easy if you want to analyze any circuit which is having diode. If you analyze first with the help of ideal diode, the understanding of the particular circuit is easy with the help of ideal diode. Once you properly understood the circuit with the help of ideal diode, then automatically you can incorporate their practical diode characteristics, all the equivalent circuits of practical diode. Later you can analyze. So the main focus here is to understand the circuit which uses the diode. So first we will try to analyze with the help of ideal diode, then we will see with the practical diode. So this ideal diode, when forward biased, we will replace with a short circuit. Like this, short circuit means what? The resistance of the short circuit is 0 ohm. The same way, if this ideal diode is reverse biased, we will replace that reverse biased ideal diode with the help of open circuit like this. What is the meaning of open circuit? Open circuit is having infinite ohm resistance. We will replace with these corresponding equivalent circuits according to the diode is forward biased and reverse biased. Okay, so if you see the classifications of rectifier can be classified like this: half-wave rectifier and full-wave rectifier. The thing is, half-wave rectifier is a simple form of rectifier which uses only single diode. And full-wave rectifier, how we will apply your AC input to the full-wave rectifier, and how many diodes are used. Based on that, this is categorized into two like this. So center tapped full-wave rectifier uses center tapped transformer and two diodes in this center tapped full-wave rectifier. The same way, in bridge full wave rectifier, in bridge full wave rectifier, we will use ordinary transformer and 4 diodes connected in the form of bridge. So that the details about this anyhow we will discuss when you are discussing the corresponding topic. I'm just showing here only the classification of the rectifiers. So this is about classification of the rectifiers. And these are the parameters. We will use mathematic definitions here to find out these parameters, and these parameters will help you out in deciding which among these three rectifiers, which rectifier is best suited for the practical applications. That we will decide only with the help of the parameters shown here in this slide. So we'll see that one by one these parameters. One is DC load current. All these parameters what I am showing here we will find out at the load only, or output of the rectifier. Load or output of the rectifier, both are same. So DC load current, whatever the output is coming, for that we will find out DC load current, DC load voltage. So the mathematical definition we will use to find out this DC load current is mean value. As you know, mean value or average value, both are same only, right? Mean value or average value definition of mathematics you will find. So when you are finding that, whatever the value is coming is, if you find for current, that is DC current. If you find for voltage, that is DC voltage. Mean value, whatever you find for mean value, that is DC value. Mean value is DC value. And the same way for AC quantities, you will find root mean square value. You will find root mean square value for AC quantities generally. So RMS load current, in the same way, if you find out for a current waveform, if you find out root mean square value, then that is RMS load current, that is IRMS. In the same way, for the output waveform, if you find out output voltage waveform, I'm talking about output voltage waveform, if you find out RMS value, then you will get load voltage. We RMS load voltage. Same way, ripple factor and rectification efficiency and peak inverse voltage. We will see all this little bit more detail. We will see, we'll try to understand whatever the parameters I talked about, little bit more detail. I taken here an example of rectifier output voltage. This is the rectifier output voltage waveform. This is the whatever I am showing here, whatever the waveform I am showing here is rectifier output waveform. In this rectifier output waveform, the peak value of this is Vm, the peak voltage. The peak value of this waveform, that is Vm. The output is V0, the peak value is Vm. For this waveform, if I found out average value, for this waveform, if I found out average value or mean value, that is coming here, that is Vm by pi, that is coming here, just coming here with blue dotted line and shaded area. So in this waveform, the DC component magnitude is this, that is Vm by pi. So VDC is at here. The same way for this waveform, if I found out root mean square value, that root mean square value is available, it will be at here. That root mean square value is Vm by 2 for this VRMS. And please note, in this output waveform V0, you will have both DC components and also AC components. You will have, but in this output waveform, you have both. In this waveform, you will have both DC components, as you already seen. DC component is this VDC, and AC components. AC component, as it is having some shade, means AC components were there. But here you just see whatever VRMS you are finding here for entire this waveform, means that VRMS value you are finding for both DC and AC components. Please note that. Generally, I will repeat once again, mean value is used for to find DC quantities. The same way, root mean square value is used to find out AC quantities. And if you find out for this waveform mean value, you will get DC value. If you find out root mean square value, you will get RMS value. But here this whatever the waveform I am showing here, this waveform is comprising both AC quantities and DC quantities. So this VRMS value I found out here is for both AC quantities and DC quantities. Anybody have any doubt till here? Yeah. I'm moving on to the next one. So same way, here I am finding from this waveform, I am finding VRMS and VDC. The same way, if you consider the current waveform, for that current waveform, here I didn't show the current waveform anyhow. So if the current waveform, if you consider again for that current waveform, I can find out IDC and IRMS. Anyhow, these things we will see once again when you're discussing the particular topic. Anyhow. So next definition is ripple factor. Ripple factor is the ratio of VAC RMS by VDC. Anyhow, this ripple factor you can find out with the help of currents also. There are different textbooks who are following different definitions. Some textbooks will follow voltage definition, some textbooks will follow current definitions, but I am following is the voltage definition, because if voltage is there, then only current will flow in the circuit, right? So that's why I'm considering the voltage waveform. So this is the definition. VAC RMS means the RMS value of only AC components, as I told you previously. RMS value you can find out for the some waveform. But whatever the RMS value I want here to find out ripple factor, the RMS value of only AC components divided by VDC. So from this ratio, what you understand, what the ripple factor, what information ripple factor will give you? The ripple factor will give you how much ripples are there at the output of the rectifier, how much ripples are there. So when you are converting the signal from AC to DC, when you are converting your signal from Johnny, Bhaiya, please check your settings if you are not able to listen me. I think all of us listening, right? So ripple factor, you see the ratio. You see the ratio. What information ripple factor will give you is how much ripple is present at the output of your rectifier. When you are converting signal from AC to DC, at the output of your rectifier, you want as less as possible AC components, right? You want most of the DC component only to be present. So we will try to see as less as AC component. So this ripple factor, this gamma value has to be as high as possible or as low as possible. It is recommended the ripple factor has to be as small as possible. So that what is the meaning of that? If the ripple factor is as small as possible means there are some less ripples were there at the output of the rectifier. Meaning you are trying to convert easily to DC. Less the ripples means more DC, right? Less ripple means which is less AC. Less AC means more DC, right? More DC. So ripple factor has to be as small as possible for any of the rectifier output we find. So this VRMS square equal to VDC square plus VAC square will help you out in calculating this ripple factor. That anyhow we will see. The same way, rectification efficiency is the ratio of output DC power to the input AC power, meaning the how much this rectification efficiency will tell you how much AC power is converted to will converted to DC. Let us take an example. You will get this rectification efficiency. Rectification efficiency you will get 40%. Meaning if I given 100% AC, you can able to convert only 40% to DC. Rest of the 60% AC power is wasting here. Rest of the 60% is wasting here. Meaning rectification efficiency, you need to be as high as possible or as small as possible. You need to, this efficiency has to be as high as possible. If you get, let us say, rectification efficiency is 80%, meaning what? If I give 100% AC input, I can able to convert 80% to DC. In that 100% AC input, I can able to convert 80% to DC. Only 20% of AC power is wasting. So higher the rectification efficiency, better the rectifier output. And the same way, peak inverse voltage. Peak inverse voltage is used to select the diode I need for the rectifier. As you know, ordinary diode cannot be operated in the reverse bias beyond the reverse breakdown voltage. If you operate the diode in reverse bias beyond the breakdown voltage, what will happen? Physical damage will happen. So you need to know about how much maximum the diode can withstand in reverse bias. That you has to know. So the peak inverse voltage definition is what? The maximum reverse voltage that the diode can withstand in reverse bias, right? So your application need, if your application need, you can able to give 50 volts reverse voltage. Your application is working on, if your application is working on 50 volts reverse voltage, then you need to select the diode such a way that the diode need to have reverse background voltage more than 50. Let us say for safety, you will select the diode will have the reverse breakdown voltage 100 volts. The same way, if your application is operating at maximum reverse voltage is 30 volts, then you will select the diode such a way that 50 volt diode which is having 50 volts reverse breakdown voltage, that is more than enough for your application. So peak inverse voltage is used to decide which diode I need to select. In the diode selection process, peak inverse voltage will help you out. Now, in summary of this slide, ripple factor has to be as small as possible, rectification efficiency as high as possible. Peak inverse voltage will decide you in selecting the diode needed for your application. Okay, so if you see the till here, anybody have any doubts? Yeah, can I have anybody have any doubts? In coming 5 minutes, I will wind up the basics topic. Somebody has a comment? Somebody raise a comment. Okay, moving on. We'll see the step down transformer operation. Why I am calling it as a step down transformer? It all depends on how many turns are there in the primary and secondary. Based on that, we can call this as step down transformer. You just see the number of windings. This is the primary winding. This is the transformer symbol. And this is the primary winding, and this is the secondary winding. The voltage appearing across the primary winding is V1. The voltage appearing across the secondary windings of the transformer is V2. And the number of turns there in the primary winding will be represented with the help of N1. That is N1. The number of turns or coils there in the secondary will be given by N2. So the relationship between all these things, if we see, we have to see that will be given by the turns ratio. So this is the turns ratio of the transformer, V2 by V1 equal to N2 by N1. So as I am telling here, why I am telling this as a step down transformer, here number of turns, you just see, I am considering N1 turns are 10 and N2 turns are 1, means N1 is greater than N2, that is step down transformer. If N1 is greater than N2, you just observe here in the diagram also, N1 is more number of turns and N2 is less number of turns. So this is step down transformer. And anyhow, I connected here the half wave rectifier circuit also. But you just see, I'm also used here VS notation. So VS meaning here, the, as we are discussing three different types of rectifiers. VS talks about effectively how much voltage is appearing across the input of the rectifier. For that, I am taking one more notation, VS. VS is effectively how much voltage is appearing across the input of the rectifier is VS. We just will see in coming lectures also why I need here. Anyhow, sir, here V2 is there. Why you are considering one more notation? So you will understand that in coming lectures why I am considered separate notation. Anyhow, in this case, Vs equal to V2. The voltage effectively appearing across the input of the rectifier is same as the voltage across the secondary winding. So, and if you use the turns ratio, if I apply here 220 volts at the primary winding, how much voltage I will get at the secondary winding is, we will help with the help of this turns ratio, we will find out. If we substitute in this, we'll get V2 equal to 22 volts. V2 equal to 22 volts like this. So this is the operation of step down transformer. If you apply 220 volts at the primary winding, you will get 22 volts at the secondary winding like this. So if we summarize what I discussed in this entire lecture, these are the terminologies we are using. Anyhow, in coming lectures also, the main important thing in the coming lectures is mathematical analysis we are doing for the each rectifier. In that mathematical analysis, we will write different equations. So we don't need to confuse from one another. So these notations I am commonly using there, where V1 is the voltage across the transformer primary winding, V2 is the voltage across transformer secondary winding, and Vs is the effective voltage appearing at the input of the rectifier. IDC is the DC load voltage. Sorry, IDC is the DC load current. VDC is the DC load voltage. IRMS is the RMS load current. VRMS is the RMS load voltage. So these are the notations we are using. So that's all for today.